Hastings and I wrote a letter to General Mattis about this investigation. We have not heard anything, but I want to go way back to when I started with this. Bring back our girls every Wednesday.
Oh, she did that.
And this was all about watching what Boko Haram was doing in Nigeria. So there was a multinational task force that was put together that included Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, Benin, and Chad. So they were put in place to fight Boko Haram. Boko Haram broke in half. One half went with ISIS. That's the group that's in Niger. The other half is still in Nigeria, in the Nigerian area. So as I'm advocating for Bring Back Our Girls and advocating against Boko Haram and going to Africa and making sure that the Congress watches this, and we're wearing red every Wednesday, unbeknownst to me, I have a soldier who is personal to me, who is a member of my 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project in that region fighting or advising troops against Boko Haram. All of this is going on and I do not know. So here I am in America advocating against Boko Haram, fighting for the release of the little girls who they kidnapped from their boarding school, 274 of them, going back to Nigeria to visit them, to let them know that the Congress of the United States has not forgotten them. And all of this fighting is going on in that region of Africa, and I don't think we've done enough. In the meantime, I get a call that La David was killed in Niger fighting Boko Haram. How coincidental can this be? So this is very personal to me. It's very personal to me, and it's amazing how these two things lock together.
Yeah.
And I'm just distraught about it, that this has come to this. And I just want someone to answer the question, why was La David separated from the rest of his battalion? Why was La David found almost a mile away? Why was he not in an armored truck? I want to know. Representative Hastings and I want to know. We're neighboring Congress people, and we wrote the letter, and we want this investigation. I just love Senator McCain, that he's right on it.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, folks. It's Soul Truth Speaker again, coming to you with some more political buffoonery. But first of all, I'd like to give much props and my condolences to the family of Sgt La David Johnson. You know, the young gentleman and 4 other soldiers who were ambushed and murdered on the continent of Africa. But I'd like to say the political buffoonery and the attacks by White House on Representative Wilson, who is a friend of the Johnson family and who was there when President Trump called and heard all that and said he knew what he signed up for. Now, my point is this. These soldiers are dead. This man's body was found a mile away. Why was he left? Do you understand? These attacks, these imbecilic political attacks have been going on for over 6 days now. What on earth is going on? The entire world is watching this buffoonery. I have a short vid I would like for you to watch what's coming out of Representative Wilson's mouth. And if what Fredrica Wilson is saying is correct, there's a lot of unanswered questions There's a lot of questions, period, that need to be answered to the public. The Bible speaks, and all you're getting, get understanding. We need to sit down and sift through all this information. We want true answers. Why was Sergeant Johnson left out there alone? I'm just going to read a little bit to you, okay? The controversy over Trump's call with the widow of Sgt La David Johnson, who was killed in an ambush in Niagara, has roiled on for the better part of a week, often overshadowing the question about the death of Johnson and 3 other U.S. soldiers who were killed as a result of the ambush. Wilson, who is close with Johnson's family and was in the car when Trump's call came, was the first to reveal details of the call, saying that Trump, well, we all already know that. Instead of the White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, a Gold Star, and I'm sorry for the loss of Mr. Kelly, John Kelly's son. But now, if he's wrong, he need to apologize. I mean, they all need to apologize to the widow of this. I'm not here to talk a lot about, it's the buffoonery behind all this. Do you understand? I'm not a Democrat or Republican. Like I told you before, and I've often mentioned, I've had family members in every war there has been. That's right, even my son. So I don't have to come up here and tell you a lot of lies. But I'm tired of the rift that this racism that's going on in the country. This is against every order of God. God took one blood and made all flesh to dwell on the face of the entire earth. That's scripture. God is watching. The entire world is watching as America implodes in racism and hatred. You don't like me? Tell God. I'm sure he has a few words for you. This is a disgrace. This political buffoonery, this racism have to stop. These are men and women dying overseas. Do you understand me? What the heck are you thinking about in Washington? Representative Wilson, we know what's happening. All this is becoming open into the entire public. The entire world is watching this buffoonery. What a disgrace this is becoming to be. This young man is dead. Those 4 soldiers, regardless of color, all of them had one thing in common. Their blood was red. No two. They were all Americans. Man, the atmosphere that's coming out of Washington is such a despicable, despisable, disgusting disgrace until it's completely a disgrace before God. I mean, I'm hearing every time you calm down. How do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on this? Who's lying? But again, leave a comment on how you feel. These are men, and I'm sick of these armchaired warriors. Now, Lindsey Graham, we don't want another 911. We have to go to Africa. It starts in Africa. Haven't you been butchering, raping, and murdering there for 400 years? If you wouldn't have went in there and killed Gaddafi, well, no, Hillary Clinton was responsible for that. That people, they just spread out all over Africa. And what happened in the Middle East? You know how many thousands and thousands of citizens have died because of the war in the Middle East? You know who called the entire Arab Spring, the Arab uprising? Do you know what it says in the Bible about that region of the world? All this is leading up to one thing: a major military confrontation. And now there's activists out there that are telling black people and people of color not to join the military because you fought it. The first person that died in the Revolutionary War was a black man by the name of Crispus Attucks. Do you understand it? But the narrative now is leading towards not even protecting the country and going into the military. Do you understand what's going on? What division caused? Do you understand what a horror this is? Racism. God hates racism. God deplores, it disgusts him, hatred of any kind. Jesus said, they have hated me without a cause. So you know how God feels about that. the hate of fellow human being. And this is the military. I hate that. We need answers, not more division. America is a house divided, and a house divided will not stand. It never has. Those were the words of Jesus. What are your thoughts? God bless you, folks. America needs a lot of prayer.